Hello, today we're going to look at the traditional wolf tattoo. This isn't about drawing a realistic looking wolf, it's about creating a design that's bold, simple, easily recognisable even on the far side of the room. We'll start from the ground up with some basic circles, some basic shapes and some basic masses, and then each of those circles and shapes will have a job to do, and we can add detail and character as we get towards the second part of this. So we'll start with a nice circle in the middle of the page. That's going to give us a basic overall size of our drawing today. From there we can think, which way is this wolf facing? For me, the wolf is going to be facing down and to the left, so I can find the centre line of where that face would be and then roughly where the eye line is going to be. Next job, the muzzle and the nose. Probably slightly longer than a real wolf, but it's going to give us plenty of room then for a big expressive mouth underneath. Once we've found the top of the jaw, we can think about where roughly the bottom of the jaw is going to be, and then add in that classic design look for this wolf of the big drooping tongue coming out of the mouth, and maybe the wolf's hungry and thinking about his dinner. For the eyes, again, just simple circles for the moment. The far eye going to be slightly further away than that near eye, so small circle on the left, slightly bigger circle on the right. Now we've got the basic face, we can think about the rest of the head. We're not thinking fur at this point or groups of fur, we're just thinking big masses of where's the cheek, where is the back of the head, where's the neck. So cheek on the right, cheek on the left, roughly a similar size, so we've got some balance to the whole thing. And as it wraps around onto the forehead, that gives us our starting point for where the ears are going to be. I'll have the ears facing probably slightly up. Once we have the ears drawn, we can finally think about the back of the head and our overall silhouette, our overall design. So as you can see here, we've got almost an upside down comma shape, but it's got a nice clear, bold silhouette. Now we have the basic layout done, we can give each of those circles detail and build character, build personality. So we'll start with the muzzle, and this is for this detail phase. This is going to be how few lines can we draw and how much information or how much detail and personality can we give with each of those lines. So for example, looking at the nose, rather than trying to think about every single part of the nose, just a simple oval shape with an upside down U shape gives us the nostrils and a nice design. Once we have the nose in, the muzzle, the top lips, that will give us a starting point for building the rest of the mouth. As we wrap around the back of the jaw, it gives us room to put in that big drooping tongue, and then we can start to think about our first bit of personality. When we think about the fangs of the wolf, is this going to have big fangs, little fangs, skinny fangs, wide fangs? How big are they going to be? So by drawing the fangs first and then the lips wrapping around the fangs, it kind of makes it a little bit easier for the overall composition. Now we've got the lips drawn, there's just one or two little extra details we can add onto the muzzle. If you imagine this wolf has its mouth open, that top of the nose is probably just slightly compressed, so a couple of little wrinkly kind of lines gives us that indication. Next up for us are going to be the eyes. This is again where we can really bring the personality and the purpose of this wolf to life. So big, strong, expressive eyebrows, and then those eyes underneath. As long as we get the left eye and the right eye roughly the same vertical bit, we'll keep that right eye just slightly bigger as it's nearer to us, and because it's not hidden by the muzzle, we've got that little point on the inside of it, which really gives the wolf some character. My wolf's looking down and to the left, so the eyeballs, the irises are probably just hidden slightly underneath the eyebrows. When we draw the pupils, adding that little highlight in the corner, well, it brings a little bit of life to the wolf. So the next job for us is to add the fur to this wolf. So rather than think individual hairs or groups of fur, we're just going to think about getting our hand into a rhythm of drawing backwards and forwards curves and practicing it as we go, finding how the pencil moves across the paper and finding how our wrist and our hand creates those little rhythms. As we move around, we can start to think, how is this fur wrapping around the wolf's head? Which direction is the fur going in? And then that gives us a nice shape. As our hand finds the rhythm, we can naturally start to speed up a little bit. We don't have to have the fur being perfect at this point. We just need an overall idea of where it's going to be and how big it is. The fur on the front of the wolf is probably going to be slightly thinner, shorter, finer than the longer hair on the back of its neck. So this sort of tiny curves at the front will get bigger and bigger as we move towards the back of the wolf's head. For the ears, there's probably another place where we can add personality and purpose for our wolf. Is our wolf relaxed with the ears drooping down by its side? Is the wolf alert with the ears sticking up, thinking what's going to happen next? Or maybe the wolf's ready to pounce and the ears are pinned back against the back of its neck. For me, my wolf is alert, ready, and thinking about what's happening next, so nice big pointy ears pointing up. Once we've got the ears drawn, we can start to think about the last little bit of fur on the back of the neck. This last bit of the fur is probably the longest of the fur, so the biggest of the curves. And that kind of completes our main composition. So as you'll see, we've got a nice shape to the wolf. Eyes have brought some personality, the ears have brought some personality. We can add a few extra details, some extra teeth, some whiskers on one side, some tiny bits of some little dots to indicate that sort of a texture on the muzzle. And then lastly, just add some hair to the eyebrows. And there we have it, that's a traditional wolf tattoo. We built it from simple circles, bold shapes. Once the drawing works, we can add some colour to it, but the colour's just there to support that classic design. If there's another you'd like me to cover, let me know below. Thanks for watching.